David. Thank you for bringing us details in business. It's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio public affairs analyst, Smart Apejoye, and public affairs analyst as well, Oladeinde Ariyo. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. All right, we begin the newspaper review with the News Direct. Court gives Inspector General of Police go ahead to recruit 10,000 policemen. To the front page of the blueprint, 2 weeks after judgment, Ganduje moves to revive new Kano Emirates, seeks quick passage of bill. On the front page of the Daily Trust, World Disability Day, members decry discrimination, want law enforced. On the front page of the Daily Times, it's a miracle Daily Times is still alive at 93, says Fashola, underscores importance of accurate data for development, urges management to invest on reporters' investigative journalism. And to the front page of the Nation newspaper, INEC APC differ with PDP over violent polls. PDP alleges rigging collusion. APC, opposition should wake up. Credible poll collective duty, says INEC. Dixon, 22 killed during Bayelsa election. On the front page of the Daily Sun now, death in Ikoyi prison. 5 inmates electrocuted, 7 others critically injured. Finally, on the front page of the Vanguard, Ikoyi prison tragedy, how 6 inmates were electrocuted, 18 in coma, only 5 dead, 7 injured. Minister, our facilities overcrowded, says Controller General of Corrections. And that's the story we'll be looking at, gentlemen. 6 dead, and the Controller General of the Correctional Service has come out to agree that the facilities are overcrowded.
One paper said 5.
The other says 6. But then the major issue is that people died.
God bless you. My problem here is this. It's a reflection of the lack of maintenance culture. Now, if you go to Ikoyi prison or any of the other correctional facilities, they want to now call them, what protocol do they have for maintenance? Because if they had, this would have been avoided. Again, beyond the name change, what other changes have they put in place? Is it just all about changing the name? And then you say it's no longer a prison. I mean, what are they doing to actually ensure that people come in there and they are refined so that when they are going out, they are better persons? But not with recent happenings in the prisons. You must have read the story of a guy that was in jail for 24 years, who had the space to leave the prison, go to the hospital, go to attend parties, and even plan a fraud of over $1 million successfully.
That was recently.
Successfully. And then, of course, there was also a media report by journalists on what happens behind the doors of our prisons. So when you mix all of this together, the picture you have is very unpleasant and very unfortunate. Now, those who lost their lives, if any of them had been my family, I would sue the federal government.
Really?
Oh, yes. Yes, it was a criminal, it was in jail, but it wasn't meant to have been murdered like that. It's cheap murdering, if you ask me. The system recklessly and carelessly killed them.
Now, it also brings to mind because we call it a criminal justice system. We say it's a correctional service. Do we have to get to this point where the overcrowding has always been an issue? Is this service really achieving its purpose at the end of the day? Looking at the example you gave, someone in the correctional service still carrying out activities, and yet we still keep having people being arrested. There's been calls for amendment to how processes go when we talk about correctional services and our criminal justice system.
Look, when you look at the system of the way we operate in Nigeria, every aspect of our life, every aspect of governance, every aspect that you can just think about need complete overhauling. It is so sad. First, my heart goes to the family of those that lost their life. For the fact that you are in prison, we don't know if these guys are awaiting trials or they'll be convicted. If they are awaiting trials, they are still innocent. And sometimes when you even look at what kept them behind the bar, you look at perhaps their mundane issues, their trivial issues, like somebody owing a bank. You know, because he's owing a bank, blah blah blah. You went to arrest. You went to arrest him, put him in the distance, take him to a police station, and take him to the court. The court will say, go and remind him. These are not supposed to be. There should be procedure. There should be other things. They should probably be detaining or putting somebody behind the bar.
In other societies, you hear community service.
Oh.
You
Yes,
so many
not
things.
just at every little offense. You can even be going, and maybe because you have an argument with a police officer now, we just say, okay, I'm going to deal with you. It will come before you know it, they will go and slam you. They will take you to the court, and you see, because they know themselves, they will probably take you to a court, to a judge that will have sympathy with them. Before you know, they will first of all send you to Krikri or to Badagry or wherever, and then you will now start looking for the bail. Sometimes they could even make the bail terms very stringent. So, look, first, again, I've not really read that place. If the minister have said only 5 died, if he have used that word only,
this is
I think
only, that's what is written.
If he have said only, I think that minister needs to be sacked. You dare not say only.
When
human life. Why would you say only? And I will not blame the guy. The guy said he does not know anything about interior affairs. And you now brought him in to handle it. And the first, maybe one of his critical assignments is that he's now saying only 5 died. Even in one, America will go to war. Advanced country will go to war just because of one soul. We now lost 5 or 6 that we're not even still sure. And you're not telling us that it is only. When you go to, I belong to the prison and welfare, whatever, in some of the churches or organizations that I'm a member. And sometimes occasionally we go for visitation. When you go there, you will weep for this nation. You will weep for inmates. It is so sad as that. I stopped going so many years ago because sometimes I come back and I feel extremely depressed. Because you even see that some people that were there, they're just for trivial issues. Trivial issues. I met somebody that has been in detention for almost about 4 months just because of the fact that she was working with a land, whatever, some of these companies that sells land, whatever, and
real estate.
Real estate. And because the business go bad, they had to go and look for her because she was the one that collected the money and remitted even, and she was no more working there.
Wow.
Before they will now get the company, they now brought the company in. She has stayed 4 months in detention, Kirikiri. You see, and there are so many like that. So when you look at it critically, you see that for so many reasons, so many people so many people are not supposed to be in
oftentimes they do not come out.
So they do not even come out.
It doesn't really correct them. The services.
And again, when you look at this, because of the system, it does not even correct them. It's hardening them. So we now find out that they release somebody today. 3 weeks later, he is back to jail because he has been caught. There was this case in Zamfara. They said somebody serving somebody in detention for armed robbery. They now said, okay, because they were doing some amnesty, they now added him to the amnesty. When they now caught him again, they now said, oh, in the first place, he was not supposed to be out.
It also brings to mind our justice system in terms of legal now, because the courts are supposed to be the last hope of the common man. And we find people here, and there is even a tragedy, so to speak. What is the hope of the common man when you see cases like this?
You see, everywhere you go, the common man is outside of the bracket. And that's the reality. Whereas the common man is being made to feel that it's all about him. Remember, I told you that the worst lie you can never believe is to take it that democracy is your government. Okay, well, for the people, by the people, for the people. It's a lie. It's not so. Now, when you look at that, there are so many laws that they try to bring in, whereby the process of adjudication from arrest to trial, prosecution, everything would be streamlined and made to happen within a short time. But it has not been made to work. Like he said, the other day, a tenant fought the landlord.
Did not have as much
the next thing, he was arrested. Before you know, they said he should be taken to Ikirikiri. And I was like, because he was owing rent. And this was an old city
There should
tenant.
be other ways to address this.
There should be other ways of managing these things.
All right.
And that's why if we don't review, change, and improve those systems, this thing will continue.
All right, gentlemen, we have to leave it at this point. Thank you for your time on the newspaper review.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning to you, fellas. Good morning, David. Thank you very much for bringing us up to speed in the world of business. It's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio a public affairs analyst, smart Apejoye, and public affairs analyst as well, Oladeinde Ariyo. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you, and good morning.
All right, let's look at the newspapers this morning. We'll start with the News Direct. Court gives IG go-ahead to recruit 10,000 policemen. That's in the News Direct this morning. The blueprint says 2 weeks after judgment, Ganduje moves to revive new Kano Emirate, 6 quicker passage of bill. The Daily Trust says here, World Disability Day, members decry discrimination once law enforced. Daily Times is saying here, it's a miracle Daily Times is still alive at 93, says Fashola. Underscores the importance of accurate data for development, urges management to invest on reporters' investigative journalism. That's in the Daily Times this morning. The Nation newspaper says here, INEC, APC differ with PDP over violent poll. And the writer says PDP alleges regained coalition. APC says opposition should wake up. Credible poll collective duty, says INEC. Dixon, 22 killed during Bayelsa election. So we move to the Daily Sun. It says death in Ikoyi prison. 5 inmates electrocuted, 7 others critically injured. That's in the Daily Sun this morning. Now, the Vanguard is saying Ikoyi prison tragedy, how 6 inmates were electrocuted, 18 in coma. The minister says only 5 dead, 7 injured. Our facilities overcrowded, says Controller General of Corrections. So we'll take a look at the stories. We'll stay with the story in the Blueprint newspaper. 2 weeks after judgment, Ganduje moves to revive new Kano Emirate, 6 quicker passage of bill. Let me start with Oladeinde Ariyo on this matter now. What's your take?
We have a very good example in Ibadan, where overnight the former governor woke up and turned 21 chiefs to Obas, forgetting that Obaship is a cultural and traditional thing. There are processes that they must undergo before they can become Obas. You don't just become a king where there are no kingdoms. But the man did it. Eventually, the case was taken to court. I'm sure you are familiar with the fact that I said they should revert to what they were. Now, I don't understand why the governor of Kano State is being so petty and about this. You've tried to create the emirate. The court says no. He's now taking it through another door, whereby the House of Assembly will pass a bill, which of course he will assent to, which if it happens, that will go to confirm that the House of Assembly is a rubber stamp assembly.
Okay.
Because there's a judicial precedence now on which they could say, no, we can't do this. The court has said no. And that will be giving us credibility to say that, okay, we have 3 arms of government. It's taking a personal disagreement too far.
Too far. Okay.
I don't know why he just want to desecrate the emirship of Kano.
Why do you think?
I don't know what wants to benefit.
Why do you think this is personal?
It is. I mean, you know, he had cases of accepting money and all of that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes. And Sanusi was very forthright in condemning him. And he has said things before which Ganduje didn't find funny.
Okay.
So this for him is a payback thing.
Okay. Let me hear from Smart.
First, if the speed at which the Kano State governor has returned this bill, because in the first place the first bill went through all the normal procedure, and overnight he signed it and
eventually passed
and got those emirs of those district heads confirmed as emirs. If the speed, if the zeal at which the governor Ganduje is doing it, if he's using that zeal to pass, look, the health insurance bill for the state, I think it will do the people of Kano a great service, and his name will be on gold, will be written on gold. But you see, as it concerns this now, he wants to make sure that, look, he watered down the power of the present emir.
Yeah.
And he's not doing that for no other reason because of the fact that they are not on the same page. The man disagrees with him. You understand? The man disagrees with him. The man has severally criticized some things that some things that the government does that he does not like. And you see, first of all, you look at what is Sanusi's antecedent. Even when he was a CBN governor, he was still criticizing the government that appointed him. Why don't you allow this man just to be? And sometimes listen to him. There's nothing wrong in perhaps having a small committee and say, look, you as the Emir of Kano, some of these things that you talk about, edit and let's see how you help us to develop this state. Instead of looking for ways of making people, you see, at the end of the day, Sanusi will have his supporters, Gandoje will have his supporters, definitely. And they will now divide the state. Then you are not making any progress. And before you know, it's 4 years. I said, I don't know. I think something is wrong.
So do we rest on the precedents given by the courts to say that no matter what, it is illegal for him to do that?
Of course, if the court has pronounced that it is illegal, then why again going back again?
Okay. I mean, taking it back door.
Why going back again? You should have allowed it to rest. You should have allowed it to rest and look for ways of, look, the people of Kano are suffering. The people of Kano Metropolis might be enjoying, but when you go to interlands, you find out that the people are suffering. What is their health insurance? What is their health status? What is their primary school and secondary school? How is it like? Look, use your power as a governor to enhance the people, not to victimize.
If I will tell you, knowing Sanusi's status, if the governor had agreed to work with Sanusi, it will benefit the state a lot more, as against casting Sanusi in the mood of an enemy and then getting ready, using all that you have and you don't have now to decimate his throne and reduce his influence and the authority. I don't, like you said, if he had channeled the same energy to ideas that will push the state forward, it would have been better than fighting a needless battle. It's not necessary.
You think it's a needless battle?
For me, you see, Sanusi is someone who is positioned, looking at where it's coming from, to help the state tremendously.
Yeah.
Now, you are now making, you want to turn him into a pariah. It's not possible.
All right.
And remember that Kanuje has less than 4 more years, right?
Yeah.
If God gives Sanusi long life, we'll be there for life until he dies.
Okay.
So what's the point?
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for talking to us on this situation. Quite right. It's a really serious situation from your observations, but thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Hi, David. Thank you for bringing us details in business. It's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio a public affairs analyst, Apejoye, and Oladeinde Ariyo, a public affairs analyst as well. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. All right, we head straight to the papers and we'll begin with the News Direct. Court gives IG go-ahead to recruit 10,000 policemen. We'll be looking at that story shortly. And to the front page of the Blueprint, 2 weeks after judgment, Gandoje moves to revive New Kano Emirates, seeks a quick passage of bill. And to the front page of the Daily Trust, World Disability Day, members decry discrimination, want law enforced. And on the front page of the Daily Times, it's a miracle Daily Times is still alive at 93, says Fashola, underscores importance of accurate data for development, urges management to invest on reporters' investigative journalism. To the Nation newspaper now, INEC APC differ with PDP over violent polls. PDP alleges rigging, collusion. APC, opposition should wake up. Credible poll, collective duty, says INEC. Dixon, 22 killed during Bielsa election. And on the front page of the Daily Sun, deaths in Ikoyi prison. 5 inmates electrocuted, 7 others critically injured. And finally, on the front page of the Vanguard, Ikoyi prison tragedy, how 6 inmates were electrocuted, 18 in coma, only 5 died, 7 injured. Minister Our facilities overcrowded, says Controller General of Corrections. All right, we head straight to the story on the front page of the News Direct. Court gives the Inspector General of Police the go-ahead to recruit 10,000 policemen. And there has been this back and forth in the courts between the Police Service Commission and the Inspector General of Police on who is saddled with the constitutional rights, or the rights rather, to employ police personnel. But then the courts have ruled in favor of the Inspector General of Police. Perhaps this will settle or put an end to the rift between both parties. All right, gentlemen, I'll start with you.
Does the Commission have the structure to recruit policemen? And for me, it's a case of the tail now wagging the dog. If there is no police, as in Nigerian police, there will be no need for the Commission. They went too far.
Who went too far?
The Service Commission.
In what sense?
In disrupting the intention to recruit more policemen.
But they are saddled with the responsibility, according to the Establishment Act.
Yes, but I'm not saying no.
Yeah.
It's supposed to complement the work of the police and make things easier for them. Not now becoming an opposition, kind of, to the extent of now going to court. Nobody benefits from that. The Nigerian people needed more policemen. That's the reason why.
Absolutely.
There's the recruitment. They shouldn't have gotten that far. They allowed individual interests to override the national interest. Is this an
issue of individual interest, or about trying to see that what is in the act is what is following procedures? That's what they were trying to enforce.
Are you not saying that the court is wrong?
I am not saying the court is wrong, but we are talking about the process the PSC went through. You said they went too far, and I'm saying that is it not about procedures? They were trying to look at the process, the procedures. The Establishment Act saddles them with that responsibility.
These are the people here now are not the first set of people to serve on that commission.
Absolutely.
Well, in the first place, sometime when I sit back, there are so many things that are alien in this administration. This is an establishment under the control of the executive, that is Mr. President. You now see Police Service Commission and Nigerian police going to court. In going to court, they will engage the service of lawyers.
Absolutely.
And they will pay for the service of these lawyers. From where? From the budget that we complain that is not enough. First, I don't want to look at the procedure first. Let's first of all look at it. Do we need more policemen? Yes. As the IG followed due process, if the IG has not followed due process, for goodness sake, as the chairman of the Police Service Commission, seek an audience with Mr. President through the CGS and iron these things out, bring it to his notice, and they will settle this thing within themselves without necessarily coming to public purview. But now they brought it out, they now have to go to court. The court now have to say, no, the Police Service Commission head, you don't have a right to stop them. The IG has a right. We should not be talking about that. There are so many things. The Police Service Commission should be more interested in the welfare of the police. Exactly. You know, I always talk about the welfare of the police because anytime I see a policeman at checkpoints or at events, maybe guiding events, I honestly, I felt for them. Because these are the policemen that I know. So if you go through, you carry out your investigation, you find out that even a serving inspector of police that have put in over 18 years, his salary is still not up to 100,000.
But if the house is not in order, how do you think they will be looking at that?
So that, no, they're not, their house is not. I say, look, these are mundane issues. Exactly. They are critical issues. The critical issues is that training and retraining of policemen. Number one, equipment for policemen. Number two, the welfare of policemen.
Those are the things they should the Police Service Commission should focus on.
Where the policeman lives, the kind of, when you put all this together, you will see that they have more critical issues to look at. For goodness sake, if not for personal interest, like he said, what stops that the IG wants to recruit and you, the Police Service Commission, what stops you from putting a call across to the police to the IG? Can we have a meeting together, including the commissioner, including the minister for police affairs? Let us have this tripartite meeting. Let us iron out this gray area and let us move forward. For goodness sake, why would they have gone to waste the whole time in the court? They have gone to waste the cut time, precious time. Because as far as I'm concerned, they are mundane issues.
Yes, it's
look, we need.
Perhaps if it's
look,
the courts had to come in.
You live in Lagos.
Yes.
You live in Lagos. When last have you seen the police vehicle bought by the federal government?
Commission.
None. It's not that you see the one donated by Dangote, or the one donated, or the one donated by Lagos State government, or the one donated that is through the trust fund. Those highway safe. Most of those vehicles are dilapidated now. So where do we go? Go and look at the divisional police stations. You will feel sorry for police. You won't want to be a police officer. Nobody wants to be a police officer.
Well, they are recruiting 10,000.
They are recruiting because people have there is a gross there is high rate of unemployment, and people will just say, okay, let me just go there, at least from there, at least they will give me gun. I'll be using it to collect 50 naira.
Smart.
Well.
Beyond that, is the fact that this recruitment now is going to be, it's like not to use it to settle the boys. You know, I will explain.
Yes.
We're discussing these things, that when there is a vacancy somewhere, now they begin to allocate slots to people in the National Assembly, House of Assembly, ministers, governors, the party structure.
Then the essence is defeated, isn't it?
Sorry?
The essence is defeated.
Exactly. And that's why you see that in this recruitment, it's always lopsided, whereby you see people from a particular region, okay, coming out in larger number than others from other places, as if those ones are not Nigerians. Again, this was reflected in the last promotion they did, if you remember. So much that out of some commissioner of police, some southeast had none, so some other states. These are the issues we've been contending with. Allow the nation to run as a nation, not as a sectoral country. Okay? Let things run on merit without bringing in personal interest. Because when you do that, you are discounting quality at the altar of patronage.
Yeah, on the altar of merit, even.
No, you are portraying merit to the dogs while giving room to patronage. Everything can be job for the boys. There are people who genuinely want to join the police. But when you now begin to allocate slots, and then you bring your thugs, okay, and your henchmen to come and join the police, you don't have professionalism.
We'll wait to see how this recruitment process goes on.
It is so sad. Like a state that the population of the state is not up to 4 million, having a larger percentage in the recruitment exercise. That is what the Police Service Commission was actually complaining about, but they went through it in the wrong way.
All right. We'll see what plays out in the end. Thank you, gentlemen, for your contribution on the newspaper review.
Thank you.